Rockhounding is sometimes nothing more than just taking advantage of an opportunity of being near some place that's known to have some cool rocks or looks like it might lend itself to something that you want to find. And in this case, I'm on my way back from Quartzsite, Arizona, and I'm near Burro Creek. And so I've pulled off on Burro Creek Road, and I'm going to follow this road, this dirt road, to Burro Creek. I think we have to cross over Burro Creek, so I'm hoping it's not, unpassable, and we'll see what we find. Well, we drove on dirt roads and drove on dirt roads until coming to an area that looks promising to me. A lot of volcanic rock, a ton of different colors, mineral rich. And I thought, let's just stop here because I really don't have direct coordinates. But this place looks good. Let's hound around here a little bit and see what we find. Okay, so I just picked this up off the ground. Really beautiful. Microcrystalline. You can see that it's somewhat translucent. There's the host. If I clean this up, that's gorgeous. Yeah, let's see if we can find some more of these. We've made our way over this hill here, and there's a mine over there. I wonder what they're mining. There's no movement. I don't think there's anybody over there actively working it right today, but I wonder what it is they're mining. We may have to drive over there and just check it out. There is a lot of beautiful quartz here. It's just a piece of quartz. It's beautiful. Very common. I'm not going to take it, but it's a beautiful chunk, and it does tell you this area has a lot of silica. I'm looking more for the microcrystalline silica. What's this little thing right there? Inside of it, it almost looks to me like a piece of petrified coral. Let's take it home and check it out. You never know what you're going to find in places like this. Mineral rich. Obviously, previously lots of volcanic activity. If you find common quartz, it's likely you'll find microcrystalline quartz, and who knows what it might be mixed in with, and there you have it. The variety becomes endless. Okay, we're not going to rock out here because this is obviously somebody's mine. I didn't see any no trespassing, but I'm going to be very careful because it's clearly staked. I'm not going to take anything, but it didn't say no trespassing. I don't think it's private property. I think it's staked BLM land. We're just going to take a peek. I'm just curious what they're pulling out of here. Very chalky this is. I don't know if this is what they're going after or not, but well, they seem to be grinding it, crushing it, and let's just check it out. I mean, I think this is it. It's kind of like chalk, probably a gypsum, something. I mean, that's very soft, very crumbly. I'm going with gypsum. My first guess, gypsum, which has a lot of industrial uses. Seems to be what they're going after here. All right, we're going to drive a little further. That spot, I didn't find anything else. I mean, there was things there if we wanted to really hunt, but I think there's better locations. We're going to drive a little further, and I don't have all day because I got to make it back home. So maybe a couple more miles that way. We'll see what we find. Oh, what do we have right here? Oh, this is interesting. An agate, a beautiful whitish, creamish, whitish agate. And a couple more right next to it. This one here, it's got pinks in it. That's all kind of under this, hiding under this bush here. Yeah. Oh, there's another chunk right over there. Oh, beautiful. Look at that. I bet you could work this and make it into arrowheads too. I bet they did. I bet the natives did. Okay, so we found all these wonderful pieces right here. What's that right there? So that's a big chunk of agate right there. We could slab that and see what it looks like. Let's take it. There's a beautiful piece right there. That's big. Oh, wow. I need to clean this up, but as you can see right there, it's all agate in there. I'm assuming this is one big chunk. That's all agate inside there. Let's just take the whole thing and we'll cut it. Okay, we'll keep looking. Driving down this road and just kind of looking on the sides to see what kind of rock we might see. I saw this. And you see that right there? That's Chalcedony in there. What about this one? That one's pretty good. That's an agate right there. What about that one? There's an agate in there. So what do we got going on right around this area? Let's just check it out for a few minutes. All right, what do we have going on here? Oh, there we go. Oh, that's pretty cool. I like that one. We'll take that and clean it up, but I like that one. Should have brought my bucket. I have to start filling up my pockets. Oh, that's pretty. I can throw that in the tumbler. This top part looks to me to be more like an agate, and then this down here more like a chert. And that's a whole discussion in and of itself, which opens up a whole can of worms of controversy. But, oh, that's beautiful. Got all kinds of stuff going on in there. I could throw that in the polisher and really bring it all out. I'll take that one too. That's a nice one to throw in the tumbler. Okay, my left side pocket in my vest is full. Then I'll fill up my right side and I'll be like a squirrel. I mean, there's a lot of this up here. This is all agate up here. Agate or chert. They're all, I mean, these are all agates. There's agates in abundance here. I'll throw that one in the tumbler. That was pretty cool. Okay, this whole hillside is just full of agates and or forms of chert. Okay, it is getting late, so I'm going to start making my way down. There's the car down there. By the way, I do not have Shadow with me on this trip because I went to Quartzsite. It's a long trip. He doesn't do well on long trips in the car. He's too hyper. And then hotels, and then going to visit my son and his family, and my daughter-in-law is somewhat allergic to him, and that's hard on her. And so I didn't bring him on this trip. He's in good hands. My youngest son is taking care of him at the home. He's in very good hands, but I miss him. I miss him. It's so much more fun to do a video with him running around, bouncing in the background, and helping me find things. And I also just kind of feel safer. You know, I feel safe with him because he would bark at anything that creeps up. There's just so much silica-rich stuff. Look at that one. Oh, that one's beautiful. I'm going to throw that one in the tumbler. Yeah. So I apologize. I don't have my little buddy with me. All right, I got to get around all this and down to the car. And to me, look at that's a big chunk of something right there. Let's just look at this for a second. Oh my gosh. Look at that thing. All right. I'm just about to get in my car and I see the biggest piece yet. I just stopped because I saw this on the side of the road. Check this out. That looks to me to be either agate or opal. And then again, I think this is gypsum. And it looks like somebody drilled here to retrieve some of this stuff. Broke a chunk of it off. So I gathered up some pieces that somebody else had chipped off and broke off, and we'll just test it because I'm just curious more than anything else. Is it opal or is it agate? And is that gypsum or is it chalk? Just chalk? We're gonna find out. Okay, we came back a different way than what we came in, and this is called the Clay Hills. There was a sign just over maybe a half a mile in that direction. It said Clay Hills. And as we were coming around the edge, I saw this whole section and I pulled over and there's just an abundance of beautiful agate. I mean, it's absolutely everywhere. And again, you know, we could get into the debate of chert versus agate because some of it I might call chert and some of it I would call agate, but that's a whole different story. But I mean, it's everywhere. Everywhere. I'll clean this stuff up. Might chuck that one, even though it looks cool. I don't think it's that great. That's kind of cool. But I mean, when I say everywhere, like, just start picking up. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. All of this. Hi. Am I looking in the wrong area? Oh, hold on one second. I'm going to talk to this gentleman here. He's rockhounding too. Okay, back to videoing. That was a really nice man I met, Gary, and he was rockhounding over there. And he gave me some Apache tears that he had gathered down by the Burro campground. And he's been rockhounding around here. He moved here not too long ago, so he's still learning the area too. And the beautiful purple Chalcedony that Burro Creek is known for, he hasn't found that yet either, so I'm not the only one. But this spot right here definitely has a lot of, agate. Definitely a lot of agate all throughout right here. So clay cliffs is what this spot is called. All right, back into the car. I got to get home. Welcome to the laboratory. We've made it back from Burro Creek. We've pooled all of our specimens that we've gathered. We've slabbed them. We've tested them. We know what they are. But I'd like to take you through that process to see if you come to the same conclusion. Because it's murky. Not everybody agrees with the terms and how they're used. Chalcedony, agate, jasper, chert, even flint. It's a murky world. And if you get out there and start Googling and reading articles on it and so forth, the very experts of the experts can have a little bit of a different opinion on the usage of the terms. So I'm going to dumb it way down to my level and try to be as simple as possible. I am not a professional geologist. If any of you have comments you'd like to add, it won't offend me. I would like to see them, as others may as well. We can all learn together. So I'm going to do the very best I can. And we're going to take these rocks through the testing process and see if you come to the same conclusion that I came to. So let's start first of all with the very basic constituent, silica. Silica, SiO2, silicon dioxide. That is silica. Silica is the basic constituent of all of these rocks: chalcedony, agates, jasper, chert, flint, and so forth. Now, that's where it starts to get a little murky. Chalcedony is silica. And if it has banding to it, and it's translucent or transparent, like this right here, it's got some banding in there. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's got banding in there. It is translucent. I can shine a light through it, or somewhat transparent. That would be an agate. Now, a jasper, on the other hand, has a lot of impurities mixed in with it, as well as impurities mixed in with the chalcedony, and thus you cannot see through it or shine a light through it. It's opaque. So that would make it a jasper. Again, the primary ingredient is silica with a lot of impurities, thus a jasper. And now, there are those that will say, well, it needs to have this or that to be a jasper, and I'm going to try and keep it simple right now. A chert is silicon dioxide. Silica. It is a chalcedony. But what makes it unique is that a chert is formed in sedimentary rock, a limestone or a dolomite, something like that. And it tends to be, I'm going to use the word microcrystalline quartz or quartz, granular quartz, grains of quartz. It can be just a little coarser than an agate or a jasper. Okay, now this is Lance speaking. That's been my experience, and really digging in deep and trying to figure this out. That's the conclusion I've come to, okay? So they're very similar, but not quite. Chert is just not quite as lustrous or waxy as an agate or a jasper. I'm going to get a ton of comments on this, I know. So let's start with this rock. First of all, are we dealing with a silica-based rock, or could it be a calcite? Well, we can test it for hardness and scratch it and determine right away. We can also use hydrochloric acid. So let's just not go with the hydrochloric acid at the moment. So let's just start with a hardness test. Now, I have a new tool, and I'm very excited about it. It is a digital microscope, and it's super easy, and they're not very expensive. I saw Jared at Currently Rockhounding use one, and I did a little research. This is a Tom Love. I kept the box out here to show it. It's like 200 bucks on Amazon. They're not very expensive. And I've already fallen in love with this thing. So it helps in so many ways. I can actually take a video of what I'm about to do, and I'm going to scratch test it under the microscope because I want you to see it. So I'm going to make a video of it, and we will scratch test together, and you'll see a few things about scratch testing that you need to be aware of. All right, I've got it in focus there. Turn on a little bit of, don't really need any light. Okay. The scratch test, it uses a Mohs hardness scale. The Mohs hardness scale is a scale of 1 to 10. Agates, jaspers, cherts tend to be between a 7 and an 8. Opal, which is silicon dioxide H2O, very similar, is softer. So we need to determine, are we dealing with opal, or are we dealing with the harder chalcedony and those derivatives? But I want you to see this. I'm going to scratch this now. I'm going to start the video. I'm going to scratch this with a 7 right there. Now, do you see that mark? That mark, is it a scratch, or is it part, did it rub off? Is the rock harder than the scratcher, and so a little bit of the testing tool rubs off? It can be deceiving. That's why I wanted you to see this. So that's a 7. This is an 8. And we'll scratch right next to it. All right, do you see the difference? The 8 scratched it. The 7 there, that's just a dark line. It's a piece of the tool. That's what happens, is the tool will scratch off onto the rock because the rock is harder, and it'll look like it's scratched, but it's not. When the tool actually scratches through the rock, you can actually see a visible scratch. So that's a good example right there. So this was not scratched by a 7. It was scratched by an 8. We say it's probably a 7.5. It's definitely not an opal. It's in the Chalcedony family. Now let's try to determine whether this is a chert or an agate. So how it was formed now is important. Chert is formed in sedimentary rock. And remember when we went to the mine and we saw all that white stuff, and then driving back towards the end of the video, we found that column of this chalcedony that's in this white stuff? I was wondering, is that white stuff gypsum, or is it chalk, like a limestone? I thought it was gypsum. They look a lot alike. Not to be, gypsum can also be in the form of selenite. That's different. But just plain old gypsum looks very chalky. So how can we tell if it's a gypsum or a limestone / chalk? Well, hydrochloric acid. So I'm going to use the microscope again so that you can see it sizzle and fizzle if it does. We're going to take a piece of that right there, start the video, and take a drop of hydrochloric acid, and let's see if it fizzles. Now, if you remember, I was thinking it was a gypsum. Look at that react. You see that fizzling and sizzling? It's literally being absorbed. It's so porous. So I'll put a little bit more on there so that you can see that reacting. That is a calcium carbonate. It's literally dissolving a hole in it right now. That is calcium carbonate. That, my friends, is a limestone. And it's so soft, I think it's a chalk. So we know it's sedimentary, and we know, oh, but look at it fizzle now. It's really going to town. So we know that this rock is formed in limestone and chalk. Well, that would tell me that it's a chert. Another thing is that really looking at it closely, it's just a little less waxy and lustrous. It's not quite the quality of a jasper. And that's just experience. And that's my experience. You can disagree with me. That's my experience. But all of this that we found up there is in that chert family. Again, it's a very murky topic, but predominantly this is obviously, to me, chert. That's a chert area. So we have chert with different colors, and it's beautiful, and it will polish up beautifully in the tumbler or slab and polish beautifully. I'm going to show you some that I slabbed. I'm not the best at slabbing. I use a tile saw as opposed to a real lapidary saw. So sometimes it's a little coarse, but it gets the job done. I'm going to show those to you at the end of the video. Let me just think here for a minute. We have fluorescent lights we could use, and I can tell you that Chalcedony and opal often will fluoresce, but let's not use that this time around. I got a rare earth magnet that will help identify rocks sometimes. What else can we use? We've used the hardness test. We've used the hydrochloric acid. A streak test is really more for the pure mineral. If you can get a piece that's really down to the elemental mineral level, it's quite helpful. Sometimes, though, it's not, because rocks are composed of a lot of different things. So those are some of the things that we use for testing. I'm really excited about the digital microscope. This is pretty cool. You can do all kinds of things. It's not hard. You know, in college we had to use these microscopes. You know, with you got to get that slide just right, and your eye has to be just at the right distance. There's very little wiggle room to look through that thing and get in focus. It was so hard. This is so easy. You literally throw a rock under there, move the height up and down, and focus it, and bam, you got the beautiful visual on the screen. Let me see if I can just show that. I think I moved the rock around, but you can just kind of see it's so simple. I don't know if that's going to show up very well or not, but really, really easy to use, a lot of fun, and not very expensive. Okay, we've done our work in the laboratory. We have gathered beautiful Burro Creek chert, and here are some of the final slabbed pieces.